Hi and welcome back to the channel Pennies and Cents. I'm Bonnie. In this week's video we are going to be doing a long overdue plant tour. I just found my video that I filmed back in February, so if you're interested I will play that, one of the first clips we do. I did hear that some people were interested in indoor plants, so I thought, I should probably finally do my plant tour. It is 4 months later, so the plants are looking now different because it's in the middle of winter, but I'll do an updated plant tour probably when I get round to it in a month or so, because we have got school holidays coming up. So we are also going to do a weekly shop, but I only go to the fruit and veg shop this week because we didn't need much else. So using up our beef, so I am now, this is the first beef recipe that we do of quite a few, to use up our freezer beef to clear it out. So this is a Indian inspired Keema Curry. So I will link the video below that inspired me to do the recipe. It is, I've just used what I have, so I have substituted a few things, but if you want to see the original recipe, then follow the link below and that will show you I should properly do it. But it did turn out pretty good, so I was happy with how I did it. I think it's got pretty simple ingredients, so it kind of leads to being able to do the recipe as with what ingredients you have. It's a fairly substitutable recipe. I won't get onto our ledger for a few weeks because I am generally about a month behind on the videos, so that ledger is for June. The videos we're doing are from, I think it's May, so we will get onto our ledger again as a small segment at the end of the video, probably coming up in a month or so. If you're interested, I generally have been learning to do the chapters, so you can follow the timestamp, and generally I put it in the description. Anyway, that being said, nice to see you, welcome back, and here is the video. See the flowers a bit better. So this is the pink Hoya, the pink silver Hoya, which I have hanging on this window. We have 3 flowers at the moment. As you can see, it's a really pretty. I was expecting this pink flower to come out, and I got a bit of a shock when these sort of beautiful maroon flowers popped out. So to my surprise, Hoya plants have lots of different flowers, so now I'm kind of excited to get some more Hoyas. Everything isn't in its final position, but I do have the succulent, which was just a cutting here, and we have this, I think it's a type of monstera, but it's variegated slightly. I cannot remember the name of it, but it is winding around, and it accidentally actually grew a root in the base down here, so now this is forced in that position. But I actually could cut it and have 2 plants, but I like the look of it, and it can grow up this bamboo stake. And then I have my chain of hearts here. Excuse the house, but out of order. And then we have our this little chain of turtles is doing really well, and he's actually pushed out lots of these flowers, and it's so long that I have to, so he doesn't get closed in this cupboard door, I've had to tip it up here. Yes, I've become a plant mum really. And this is another succulent which I can't remember the name, but these little bits drop everywhere and they grow new plants, so they're very easy to propagate. And I have my Neptune's pearls, and it's finally growing very well, and it's sort of quite thick now. I didn't have much of a plant up here before, and I just keep folding it over itself, and now each strand has grown quite long. So it might be time to break some of these up to make more plants. And then I have this Swiss cheese monstera here, which you might remember in my other house had a really long, massive plant. It was probably the length of our whole window times 2, but it just got really started losing all its leaf, and it was really sparse, and I thought no, so I chopped it into about 5 plants, and I was hoping 1 or 2 would grow, but actually all 5 have grown. So I'm going to have to repot those, because that will grow quite big, and that will be all 5 big roots. Before I had 1 big root in there and it got root bound, so I am thinking that they need to be split up shortly, so that's something I will have to do, and I either give away or sell the plants. And then I have another part of that same succulent which kind of got out of control a bit, so I popped them in this tub. I really like the look of these crazy little succulent arms popping out everywhere. So, I had a capsicum plant growing in here, and I tore it out because he wasn't happy. But look, he's pushed out some more leaves, so I might be keeping that as a perennial over winter. But I do need to repot it away from my plants, from my indoor plants. And my last little one is this Wandering Jew, which is one of my favourite colours. It's grown really well, and he's pretty happy there. As it starts to go a bit browner and lose its colour and look a bit raggedy, which it does in winter, I will trim it down to probably about here, and I just plant these everywhere there's a kink here will grow a root. So I'll probably cut them about there, each of these lengths, and put it back in the base, and it grows so fast, so it will do that again next season. So we'll just keep it at the moment. He's looking pretty healthy for now, and as usual I need to sort my kitchen out, and that's the indoor plants that I have moved with us. These Hoya flowers are so different. They're almost like velvet, with this really cute little deep pink center, and they smell like nectar, like honey. They're very cute. Well, this is this week's shop. I went to the fruit and veggie shop instead of the supermarket this week, and I spent $44.90. But apparently I did the paywave thing and paid the 1%, so that's a little bit frustrating. That was a bit more than I wanted to spend, and I can see why, because I bought grapes for $9 and I got the sweet peppers for $6.99 and strawberries, so there's a few kind of bigger costs there, but this is what I got. I got a big bag of mushrooms for $4.79. The peppers, which were at $6. There's the $9 grapes, which I will rinse and store in glass, as well as the strawberries are there. We needed some bananas. I found this little thing of pickling onions for $1. I'll just use them in our normal cooking, I think, and it's actually handy when you cook less. You can just grab 1 or 2 rather than a whole one, which you would do for a big meal. That is some kiwi. I'm actually going to give some of the stuff to my mum, probably a bag of Mandos and some of the kiwi she asked for. Some pears. I got 7 apples. I got 2 of these butternuts, which were 99 cents. And some ginger. I think it was $1.34 for this piece. I only wanted a small bit because a lot of these mince dishes I've been trying to work on, the beef, the ground beef recipes, the sort of Asian style, have ginger in it, and I wanted to get some for that. So now I'm going to make 3 recipes. I think one's Thai, one's Chinese, and one might be Korean, and they all call for ginger, so got that. And These are for school lunches, but we may as well put some of these in our recipes too to give it a dual use. Same with the mushrooms and onions. And I still have those spring onions that I popped in the glass container a couple of days ago. And the only other shop I did was I went to Coupland's and I got this naughty pack of chocolate Anzac biscuits. I actually got 2 little mini pies because they're $1, I think they're $1.50 and they're frozen. These are a really good quick meal if I'm feeling lazy. Pop them in the microwave or oven. And I got 2 of actually slightly more expensive bread. They were $3 each on special. You're just getting a little bit more fibre and protein with these rye style loaves. It's about $15 at Coupland's and the $45 at the fruit and veggie shop. And that's this week's shop. Do you like my Cheesecake Factory bag? I have had this bag for probably, I want to say 3, it could even be 4 years, because it's a double-sized, it must be for a cake box, and honestly, it gets almost all of my groceries in it every time, and I'd obviously look like a cool dude with a Cheesecake Factory bag, but I'm going to keep using it. Like, if it ever gets something on it, I just give it a quick wash. I'm going to keep using it till it dies. And that is the shop for this week. And this was a quick lunch that I had. It was some chili beans with cheese and sour cream and nachos on the side. We went on a community bike ride for the winter solstice in the shortest day of the year, and it was so fun. And here's my daughter. She had her bike all lit up and it was really cool. And that was such a fun night. These are the ingredients you'll need. The Indian style Keema Curry. I actually found a recipe, well, loosely found a recipe on YouTube. I'm going to link that channel below if you want to check out the original recipe, because I'm just using what I have at home. So basically it's a mince recipe. You need onions, potatoes, serve it on rice, coconut cream or milk. I'm doing ground coriander, but the recipe calls for cumin, curry powder, paprika, salt and pepper. I have got turmeric out. I'm not sure if I'll use it. Some tomato paste, some frozen peas or any veggies of your choice. I'm going to use some of my slow roasted garlic I froze, so I'm just going to break a piece off. And you need spinach, but I only have silver beet, so and I'm also going to add some of my homemade bone broth as well, and so we'll go ahead and start cooking that. So I've just started by frying up some diced onion and some cubed potato. I put a little bit of salt and some oil, and I might actually just top it up with some of my garlic infused oil, like a teaspoon or so. I kind of want this potato to get kind of browned and par cooked, and same with the onion. We want it to get all like caramelized, and then we'll remove it from the heat. We'll just continue that process. I was also just sort of taking a look at the recipe And I have obviously done way too much potato, so I think I'm going to not make the rice because there's plenty of potatoes in this dish to be a full. There's no point in having two starches. I mean, if I'd have done half, then that would have been nice to have rice on the side. And I think you could even make like a coconut rice, which would be nice because this is going to go into it. However, I think it's going to be pretty good based on, I mean, that is probably, yeah, too much, probably twice as much as I need, but it will still be delicious. Now that these have a bit of a golden sort of look to them and they're partially cooked, I'm going to remove them from the pan and add the minced beef to the pan, and I'm going to get that browned. The corners of the roast garlic that we froze into sections, that will probably. So we're getting some really nice browning on that mince now. So I'll start adding in the spices and the tomato paste. So this is the equivalent of 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, and I've got my home roasted, slow roasted garlic, about 2 cloves worth, and it has 2 to 3 teaspoons of curry powder, a teaspoon of paprika, and about 3/4 of a teaspoon of coriander here, but and some salt and pepper. I would probably suggest to use the cumin, which is in the original recipe, so I'm just going to stir all this through. We just kind of want to roast and bloom the spices, so I'll just mix it through, and then I'll probably turn it down actually. Now I've got the potatoes and onions kind of coated. I'm going to add the water, but also I've got the beef bone broth. I want to add some of that and some water. I think it's the 250 mils, so this is about 200. So we'll add, it has some of the meat out of the bone broth, and maybe about that much water. I'm now adding the coconut cream. I've done about just over half. Get that stirred through. So I've stirred that through. I'm going to cover this and cook it for about 10 minutes just to soften up the potatoes, and then I'll add our green veg and it should be close to ready. I don't have a lid, so I'm just going to put a plate on it. So I'm just going to cover that, give it 10 minutes, and we'll come back. Good. Although the recipe said not to add garlic, I can smell the garlic that I put in, and I think it's smelling really good. So let's try it, see if it's time to pop the spinach. Let's have a taste test of the actual sauce. Wow, it's a really mild curry. Nice flavour. If you like a bit of a kick, you can add chili spices to this. I might actually add a tiny bit of sugar, maybe about a teaspoon. It's just really quite savoury right now. So I'll mix that through, but other than that, this is a good flavoured curry. I'm amazed. They can all cook at once. So I've got the peas and the silver beet going in, and the last bits of spring onion. So yeah, I'll let that wilt down with our makeshift lid, but I'm thinking it's about 10 minutes away. pop it back to bed. I might turn it up to 4. So I've just taken the makeshift lid off of this, and the potatoes are all cooked, the spinach and the peas are all heated through, and it is ready to go. I've turned the heat off, and now we're going to dish it up, and it's time for tea. This is going to be a winner, I think. This is Mince dish number 1. Indian Keema Curry inspired. And there's plenty left over, so that's probably going to do another meal plus probably 2 lunches. I did taste test it, and it tastes so good, so I would suggest to try that. It's very mild. It's a mild curry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again hopefully in a week or so. Like I said, we do have holidays, so we might be a little bit behind schedule. I'm hoping to edit one before the holidays so that it can be on time, but the second and third week I can't guarantee. So we'll probably see you within the month, hopefully. But thanks for stopping by. Enjoy your week. I love to hear your comments. Any ideas again on the beef recipe? I do have a teriyaki beef noodles recipe coming up, which was really yummy as well. That should be in the next week's video. But nice to see you. Ka kite, bye! Ta-ta.